In this lecture, we will learn how to generate dynamic block in AutoCAD. Basically, the dynamic block is applied to add some advanced operations for the block defined in the previous lecture. To learn how to use the dynamic blocks, the first question we should ask is what dynamic block is. First, a dynamic block contains the custom properties and the groups in addition to the geometry contained in block definition. Second, a dynamic block has flexibility and intelligence. Third, a dynamic block reference can easily be changed in the drawing while you work. So with these properties, if we want to change the shape, size, or configuration of some fundamental components which are consistent of the blocks, you don't need to redraw many different static blocks. Instead, you can add some actions to the fundamental static blocks and make them be the dynamic block. After that, you can apply the actions to change the shape, size, or the configuration of the dynamic block in your current drawing. And that's the advantages of the dynamic block compared with the static block. If we want to add some actions to the static block and generate a dynamic block, you have to call the command bedit. Once you type this command under the command window, you will be asked to specify the name of the block you want to edit, and then you will pop out the block editor command like here. Actually, there are two steps for you to complete the generation of dynamic blocks. In the first step, you have to define the parameter, and then you need to specify the actions associated with the parameter. Under the block editor, there are some commonly applied parameters for dynamic blocks, including point, linear, polar, XY, rotation, alignment, flip, and visibility. And it also provides some useful actions such as move, scale, stretch, polar stretch, rotate, flip, array, and visibility. In the rest of this lecture, I will show you some demonstrations about the actions of stretch, rotate, flip, array, and visibility for dynamic blocks. Now let's first take a look at the stretch action for the dynamic block. Basically, the stretch action is applied to change the dimension of the block. In this drawing, I've already added the stretch action to this block, which is consisted of two rectangles. So if you choose this block, you will see that there's one base point which is defined for the block and one control point here, which will be applied for you to change the dimension of the block. Choose this point, you can modify the length of these two rectangles. And then let me show you how to add the action of the stretch to these two rectangles. First, we have to generate a block and specify name as rect2 and choose the base point, select the objects, and next step you have to open the block editor, so you can check here open in block editor and click OK. Then you will go to the block editor window, and then to add the stretch action you should first define the parameter, which would be the linear, and then you define the distance associated with the length of this rectangle. And next step, you have to specify the action stretch. Choose the stretch here, and then you will first be asked to select the parameter, which will be the distance you just defined, and then define the control point. That's the point here you want to control to activate the stretch action. And next step, you have to specify the stretch corner with the crossing window. So here, remember, you always need to use the crossing window with the cursor to select the window from right to left. And now this part inside of this rectangle will be selected for the stretch action. At the last step, you have to specify the parameters associated with the stretch action, which would be these two rectangles. Click Enter. You complete the definition of the stretch action, and then close the block editor here. And now you already added the stretch action to these two rectangles. Choose this block, and then you have the control point. Now you can modify the length of these two rectangles. And this is the method for you to add the stretch action to the block. The second action we will learn is rotate. Basically, this action is applied for us to rotate some component inside of the block around the center. In this drawing, the pin inside of the compass has been set with the rotate action. Once you choose this block, you will find a control point. Click this control point, you can rotate the pin inside of the block. And next, I will show you how to add the rotate action to this compass here. First, we have to generate the block and specify the name as compass 2. Define the base point at the center, choose the objects, and then open the block editor. Now you have to first identify the parameter. Here we have to use the rotate parameter. Specify the center for the rotate parameter and define the radius of the parameter. Generally, we will set the radius as the radius of the circle, and then specify the default rotate angle. Could be any angle here for you to specify the control point. So now your control point is applied here. And then we will go to the action. Choose the rotate action, select the parameter, choose the objects associated with the rotate action. That would be the pin inside of the compass. So just choose the pin and then click Enter to complete the definition of the rotate action. Close the block editor, and the rotate action has been added to this block. You can choose the control point and rotate the pin inside of the compass. And this is the second action. The third action we will learn is a flip, which is applied to flip some components of a block about a straight line. In this drawing, the flip action has been added to the block here. The flip line is set as the edge here. Once you choose the block, you will find out the control point for the flip action. Actually here, the circle is applied for the flip action. Click the control point, the circle will be moved outside of the pentagon. Click it again, the circle will be flipped back to its original location. And then let me show you how to add the flip action to this block. The name of this block is pentagon 2. So we have to call the command pedit. Choose the command pentagon 2. Click OK to activate the block editor window. And then you have to specify the parameter, which is a flip. And now you need to specify a line for the flip action. Here we are using this edge as the flip line. So choose the end here and the corner here. The next step, you have to specify the location for the control point. We set the control point at this location. And now we need to add the flip action. Go to action, find out the flip action here. Specify the parameter, which would be the flip status 1 here. And then choose the object. We just want to apply the flip action for the circle. Choose the circle, click Enter to complete definition of the flip action. And then close the block editor. And now we add the flip action to this block. Click the control point. The circle will be outside of the pentagon. Click it again. It will go back to the original location. In this demonstration, I will show you how to add an array action to a block. Basically, the array action is applied for you to generate rectangular array for some components in the block. In the joining here, the array action has been added to the block here. Once you choose this block, you will find out a control point. Change the location of the control point. You can add more circles to both sides of the rectangle. And then let me show you how to add the array action to the block here. First, let's generate the block and define the block name as table 2. Choose the center point and select the objects. Open the block editor. Now, if you want to add the array action, you actually need to add two actions, the stretch action and the array action. So here, let's first define the parameter. The parameter would be linear. And you choose the size here to define the distance. And then let's first identify the stretch action. Define the parameter, choose the control point, specify the stretch frame, and define the variables associated with the stretch action. And next, you have to add the array action. Specify the parameter, which is also the distance here. And then select the objects, would be the two circles. And at the next step, you have to specify the distance between the columns. Here we set the distance as 5 units. Now you complete definition of the array action. Close the block editor, and we can see the results for this action. Choose the control point. You can add more circles to both sides of the rectangle, and the spacing between these two circles is 5 units as what we just defined. So that's the operation of the array action. The last action is the visibility, which is applied for us to decide which part of the block shall be displayed in the joining. In the joining here, the visibility action has been added to the block here. And once you select the block, you can find out the control point for the visibility. Click the control point. There are three options, all, table, and chair. All is applied for us to display both circles and rectangle. With table, you can only see the rectangle. And with chair, you can only see the 4 circles. And now I will show you how to add the visibility action to the block here. Similarly, we need to generate the block first. Define the name as table chair 2. Specify the base point. Choose the objects. And then open the block editor. Now you have to specify the parameter, which would be the visibility. And then identify the location for the control point of the visibility action. We are using the center point of the rectangle. So put the visibility status here. And the next step, you have to specify 3 different visibility states. Click the icon here. You can generate a new state, table, and chair. You also can rename the default state. Say it's all. Now we can specify the objects will be displayed at each state. For the all, we should display both circles and rectangle, so we don't need to do any further action here. For the table, we should hide the 4 circles. So we choose the 4 circles and click the icon, make it invisible. And then for the chair, we don't want to see the rectangle, so make the rectangle invisible. and then you complete the definition of the visibility action. Close the block editor. And now the visibility action has been added to the block here. For all, it will display both circles and rectangle. Table, you only get the rectangle. And here, you will only have the circles. So that's how you will add a visibility action to a block. This is the end of the second part about the blocks and attributes. After class, you can follow my instruction in this lecture to learn how to add actions and generate a dynamic block.